Good evening. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the BW Dialogue. Today we have a very eminent, multifaceted celebrity who's just written a book, and we're going to talk to him about his book. What are his motivations for writing the book? What's in the book? What's his favorite chapter? But before we get on to the book, let me introduce our guest, Mr. Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra. He really doesn't need an introduction, but he is a filmmaker. He's a advertising professional who made lots of very memorable advertising films, but moved into movie making, and now he's turned an author. So let me welcome Mr. Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra, and let's get the spotlight on Mr. Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra. Welcome, Rakesh ji, to this BW Dialogue, and we're grateful to you that you're talking to us at BW Business World. Let me start by asking you, how have been the last 17 months for you, both personally and professionally?
Thank you for having me over. Last 17 months, more than me, it's been really telling 17 months for the world at large, especially for our country, especially for, we saw so much going on, and I'm referring to the pandemic. In the beginning, there was confusion, then there was more understanding of what's going on. There's been a lot of pain, and there's been a lot of inspiration as such. How the governments of the world, our government, the medical fraternity of the world, the scientists, the frontline workers, how they all got together in serving the society, the people of the world, putting their own lives at risk. So that cannot be forgotten. I think it's a seminal part in the history of the world and modern world. At the same time, we also witnessed a lot of pain, poor getting poorer, and not for fault of anybody, but that was the situation. The plight of the migrant workers, which also brings us to we should not repeat if we are confronted with a situation like this or anything else. Always take care of the people who need to be taken care of. And so I'm sure it's all in action. The social welfare of the people is, which I thought once was getting a little fading away, little forgotten, now is in the forefront of everybody, and people who have something to offer, something to share, something to give, have all woken up that giving is not just about charity. It's a duty towards humanity. Yeah.
Absolutely, you summed it well. It was a mixed bag. As you said, there was loss of lives and livelihoods, but also a lot of people stepped up. Institutions stepped up to help people. Now, your book is coming out now when you're still very active. Why this book and why now? And let me at this point show your book. This is the reason we are talking. It's a autobiographical narrative, and as the publisher of the book, Rita Ramurthy Gupta, says, it is many there are many narratives in it and many narrators in it. So this is a book I'd encourage you to read. It is unputdownable. The Stranger in the Mirror, I'll show it again. So Rakesh ji, why now and why this book? You're still in the midst of lots of things you're doing. You're very young. People write book when they're 70, 80, but I don't think you intend to hang your boots. So why this book now?
Absolutely, I agree with you, and there is no intention or even an iota of a thought of hanging a boots as such. on the contrary, it's like pressing on the gas and abhi thodi speed badhani padegi. मतलब इतना कुछ मिला है जिंदगी से. There's so much you've got, and there was always a feeling of sharing that. In fact, when we started, it started as a conversation between myself and Rita ji, and we thought, let's share the journey so far of my movies, and the working title actually I must share with you in the beginning was Interval, and which I felt like, hey Rita ji, this is the interval of my life. I'm feeling reinvented. I'm feeling absolutely as if I'm a young kid on the block, and the next film I'm going to make will be my first film. As the conversation developed, and it took us almost approximately around 4 years to this date, when we see the actual hardbound copy of the book. बातों से बातें निकलती रही, conversations kept getting deeper. It went to my childhood, and I started feeling it's becoming more and more meaningful, more and more insightful. And as if more and more I was looking at myself in the mirror, and the years that have gone by, and the years that lie in front of me, and it organically kind of developed into what it is today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I love the name Interval, but you've given me a segue into my next question. I was going to ask you why this title, Stranger in the Mirror, and why not Interval? So give us a story about this name.
Very difficult to define what happens and why it happens. Like I said, सब कुछ अपने आप होता गया, and it kept falling in place. And then I realized that the journey so far, and I must give all credit to Rita ma'am, of poking me, pondering me, talking to me tirelessly, talking for hundreds and hundreds of hours. She was always there, meeting, thousands of cups of coffee. We kept talking, and I realized ये तो मैं अपने आप में झांक रहा हूँ अभी, और and it is time to bear it all, to be as transparent, as truthful, and just bring it all out. And it was like looking into the mirror, and mirrors have a strange and a beautiful connection, which also I realized through the journey of this book, that somehow or the other, in the work I've done, all my movies have a seminal moment where there's a mirror. My first film, Aks, means reflection, and as such, and it was about the good and evil. It was about good and evil are two sides of the same coin. Rang De Basanti was more like, on a philosophical level, a mirror to the society, about looking at ourselves rather than pointing a finger at the establishment all the time to say, yes, we must raise a question, but at the same time, it is our duty towards the people, towards the nation. And उसमें बहुत एक खूबसूरत लाइन है कि कोई भी देश परफेक्ट नहीं होता, उसे परफेक्ट बनाना होता है. परफेक्ट कौन बनाएगा? हम ही तो बनाएंगे. And change was so important as the core thought and the subtext of that film. And where does the change begin? The change begins with the person you look into the mirror every day in the morning. And थोड़ा शायद preachy sound करे, but फिर भी I have to share this कि if all of us and every one of us take the responsibility of changing the person whom you look into the mirror, yeah, I think in one day the whole world will change.
Absolutely. The change starts with you. I have to tell you, I watched Akshay Ludhiana. I was on a
Oh, wow.
trip to Punjab. I live in Delhi,
Yeah.
and I was in Ludhiana that evening, and I went to a theater and watched Aks. So just remembered that. But we're focusing on your book, and thank you for explaining to us why you called it "Stranger in the Mirror." And now you got a forward for A.R. Rahmanji, and he calls you a bold creator. He calls you a great explorer, and he says in the forward that if you told something to Rakesh from Prakash Mehra, he says, "All right, let's do it. Let's see how it goes." So, give us a sense of what do you feel about yourself as an explorer, as a bold creator?
Those are very kind words and very kind sentiments from AR. Such a great human being, and he's so humble. And I must say, he's really put me on a pedestal with those words. As such, but I feel the journey in anything and everything we do, whether I'm a parent or I'm a son, I'm a brother, or I'm a sister, whether I'm making films, whether I'm a school teacher or a doctor or a lawyer, it's the journey. And you're always traveling and you're always wandering, and it's and always discovering, and the greatest teacher is life, and you're always learning from life as such. So yeah, maybe more than me is AR, if I tell you, who's the greatest wanderer, was the amazing explorer. If it was not for music, he would have discovered, and if he was an astronaut, he would have discovered a parallel solar system by now.
Absolutely, he is. He's pushed the boundaries of music, and he's very humble. But he also says that apart from knowing you professionally, and he says his journey with you started after Aks, he calls you a great combination of someone who lives spiritually, believes in spirituality, and is very humorous mostly. So, how does that come about?
I think spirituality comes from belief, and not belief in a particular religion. I always feel religion is a way of life. So for a cricketer, it would be cricket. That's religion for him or her. For a homemaker, it would be her family. And I always feel whenever I'm writing my screenplays or directing on the floor, I've always felt like a third person there, like as if I'm actually watching myself direct as such. So that, and the very strong belief that if you float a thought in the universe and you believe about it very strongly and you go about it with hard work, because talent is given, it's what you have. At best you can hone it, at best you can polish it and glitter it a little more, but it's the hard work you have to put in, and it's almost like people say 99% hard work and 1% talent. I believe 100% hard work has to go into it. So yeah, so a mix of all this. Also, I'm a believer in the universe. I'm a believer of people and thoughts. I'm a believer in connectivity with nature. I'm a believer that we are not alone. It's not possible. It's such a huge universe, so it would be foolish to think we are the only ones here who exist. And even if we exist for that little time, and then we kind of travel on. So And spirituality kind of anchors you to all this. So maybe that was the connect. And AR himself is an epitome of spirituality. So maybe in a very small way, when you meet him and you work with him, is something rubs on to you. So again, he's been very kind to label me like that, I must say.
Thank you. By the way, when you read the book, that's a bit about AR talking about spirituality, when you comes across. I mean, I don't know you personally, but I can say reading the book, it kind of reinforces what he says upfront. But now let me move into the fact that Rita Ramurthy Gupta, who's the co-author, and she says this is not an autobiographical account. It has many narrators, and once you read the book, you know why in every chapter there's an external person who kind of validated the thought process and shared experiences. You talk a lot about Bharati, and we'll come to that. But before that, you also talk a bit about your guru in advertising. You came from advertising, Ashok Mehta. And for those of you who know Ashok Mehta from the work he's done, he did Utsav, that's one I remember. Mandi, these are two I remember, maybe my time, So, and then of course in advertising, he was a giant, and, you produce some of his movies, so on and so forth. So give us a sense of what is the impact Ashok Mehta had on you.
Not just a guru in my advertising days. He's been and remains. He's no more.
Yes.
But for me, he always remains as a guru in life. I remember once we were shooting an ad film in Film City in Goregaon, Bombay. And it was very, very early days in my life. And I was getting extremely fed up with the stupid questions I was being asked about, and I was producing it. I'm not directing it. And then I had a particular shot in mind, and I suggested it to the director, and he said, kind of know your place, and you're just producing it. So I always felt filmmaking is a collaborative art. So many people come together. You might have good suggestions, bad suggestions, all that is fine. And somehow things are not going right for me. So I left the sets and I walked out, and I kept walking. And suddenly this car stopped, and there was Ashok Mehta in it. He was shooting the ad. And he said, "Where are you going?" So I said, "I'm going back to Delhi. I've had enough of Bombay. So अब बहुत हो गया, ये मेरे से हो नहीं रहा." So he said, "पैदल चल के जाओगे कि मेरी गाड़ी चाहिए तुम्हारे?" So I said, "नहीं, मैं चले जाऊँगा. मैं अभी तो पैदल ही चल रहा हूँ. I need some space." And then he parked the car, and we were not worried about the shooting is in progress and the whole crew is waiting without the DOP. And he sat me down and he said, "Chalo chai peete." And we went to the Film City canteen. He caught me at the gate. So we went there and we had a cup of tea. And he said, "You know what? Your idea was very good of what you were suggesting. But more than being the best at your work, first thing you have to be is a good human being first. And then not number two in what you do. Try and work hard to be number one in what you do. But not at the expense of being a good human being. Sometimes we are so career oriented, and we work with blinkers that we step on people, and we want to get to whatever we need at whatever cost. And that's what he told me. He instilled in me is to stay humble, be a good human being, and don't settle for being second best in your work. There's another anecdote for the first couple of years, like more than 5 years, 5 to 7 years, there was very little work. And so there was no money also. So he was shooting an ad in Delhi and he offered me some work on sets and he said, Aja, matlab, and for me it was like a breather, some pocket money, survival for another month in this big town to pay my rent or whatever. And we shot the ad in Delhi, and I'm a Delhi boy like you. So we were sharing a room in Janpat Hotel, and we had shot till like 3-4 in the morning, and he had a morning flight out like 9:30, and I was still sleeping. यार अच्छा होटल है, चेकआउट 12 बजे होता है, जितना सो सकते हो सो लो, अच्छा बेड भी अच्छा है, ऑल दैट, बॉम्बे से तो बेटर है. So he woke me up, he said I'm off to the airport, and मैंने कहा मैं सो रहा हूँ, मैं आता हूँ 3-4 दिन में वापस, घर वालों से मिलके थोड़ा खाना वाना खा के भरपेट. And when I woke up, his hat was lying there, and he couldn't have forgotten the hat. He always used to wear a hat. So Zahira, he had left it for me, and which was very moving. I think he realized I'm always eyeing his hats. And when I picked up the hat, there was 5,000 rupees there. And that 5,000 rupees sustained me for a couple of months again. So it was his kindness. He understood, and without saying a word, he made it happen. And I went back home, and everybody, you know, when your son comes back home, you feel कि अभी एक आध हफ्ते तो रुकेगा ये. But I had 5,000 rupees in my back pocket. And I said, I'm going back to Bombay tomorrow morning, and it has to continue. It was so inspiring. So he's been a mentor. He taught me a lot about camera work. And I asked him, what is the mantra? He said, Rakesh, if you love the camera, you should be able to take it apart piece by piece and then put it together like a jigsaw puzzle. So you should understand the technique also and the tools of storytelling inside out, which to date, I've kept it very close to my heart. Now filmmaking has really progressed. Storytelling has gone to a different level, and technology plays a huge part in it. So I try and keep myself abreast with the changing technology, which is changing by the minute. So you have to really be sharp there. Feels like you're back to school with the whole digital technology, the visual effects, the storytelling, especially the editing, and how sharp the storytelling has become. So his words keep coming back to me again and again, and the lessons he taught me, maybe it didn't make so much difference at that point of time, but as the journey continues, they were like golden teachings.
I want to clarify that I'm not a Delhi boy in the sense. I live in Delhi for the last 21 years, and I've been visiting Delhi for almost 5 decades. But I grew up in Old Gurgaon, which is in older times was like 30 minutes from Delhi, and all my relatives were in Delhi. But so, you know, I am in that sense a Delhi boy, but to be very factual, I grew up in Old Gurgaon and not in Delhi. Oh, wow. You know, I got married and then I shifted to Delhi. A couple of years we stayed in Old Gurgaon, and I just started Exchange for Media. But now coming to the book, you know, there are 16 chapters in the book. Which one is your favorite and why?
I don't know. My favorite will emerge as the time goes by.
Sure. And thank you for being authentic. Now, again, you know, your first chapter is about early influences. It's about the pursuit of excellence. It's about your father, mother, you know, your family. You talk about it. Why don't you tell our viewers and readers about your early influences and how did you pursue excellence?
You know, like all parents, my parents are also extremely giving, and we all do that for our children. So that remains constant, and the love of parents remained constant. But what they really did and what they really taught me is it's uh, it's creating a sense of uh, potential in your life. Not necessarily, we didn't have a lot of money. In fact, the only thing we possessed till my age of 21 was a radio. No fridge, no TV, no phone, no car, no cycle, of course, no scooter. And it's only when I got my first job and started making some money, and after that in advertising, one could afford a bike. But all that is fine. It's like millions of us across the world, and especially in a country, go through that journey. But both my mother and father instilled in me to first dream and believe in your dreams, and the rest will fall in place. The universe will conspire. And they came from very humble backgrounds. And one was 9th standard fail, and the other was 8th standard dropout. And she could not carry her studies after that. उन दिनों शादी जल्दी हो जाती थी, and then you gave up studies. But which also made me realize later on that it's not education, it's about life lessons, which finally become very important. It's not about the marks you score, it's not about the percentages. Though I was very lucky to get into Shri Ram College of Commerce, which the list used to end at 96.4. And for the longest time, I wanted to make a film called 96.4. So, which was, but, please don't mistake me as a brilliant student who got 96.4. I got only 56.4, and but which was good enough, because the rest 50% came from the
sports.
Yeah.
Yes, you talk about the sports quota in your book.
Yeah. And it's which also my love for sports kind of came back to me when I made Bhag Milkha Bhag, and now that Tufan, it just got released on 16th of July. So I'm a firm believer of the fact, and I tell my kids and all my friends that whatever we do is important. Every moment spent in doing something is so important. It's always useful. So never think ये मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ. वो कभी ना कभी तो वो आपको it comes and gives you back, and gives you back in 10 times over.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And, I grew up in a middle-class family. My parents are academicians, and, in the book you talk, Ma, Bhauji, and I read your mother's name, and of course your father's name is in your name. So I found that beautiful. And of course there's Mamta in the first person there. So let me move on to the second chapter. And you say Delhi 6 brews in my belly. The inspiration from Delhi 6, creating magic on celluloid. Tell us about what's in this chapter.
Delhi 6 is, for the uninitiated, it's like, the 6 is the pin code, ID of Delhi 110006. And so Delhi check, basically. And both my parental homes are in Old Delhi. So my Nani and Nani, Nana, Dada, Dadi, they lived in separate neighborhoods. So my mom and dad are from Old Delhi. My childhood holidays were in Old Delhi. As such, we would play a lot of gully cricket, fly a lot of kites, eat a lot of chaat, hang out, drink a lot of hot milk in the night after dinner, and all that. I've grown up in the alleys of Old Delhi, and like any childhood of anybody, your childhood is most impressionable. So what I saw and what I learned around me was made a lot of impression. But one thing always used to irk me, like, Old Delhi is a very, like all our major cities, we have these old neighborhoods. In Mumbai, it would be Dongri, Nagpada, Shivaji Park, Buleshwar. In Ahmedabad, there's this thing. In Hyderabad, uh, uh, there is an old town, because India is a very rich and old country. So in Jaipur, and the list goes on and on. So in Chennai, Remanto still stays in the old part of Chennai. He hasn't moved. All his studios have come up there. Something which I always had a question, like, seamlessly you can move through Old Delhi. If I were to describe Old Delhi to you, and I think it's in the book.
मैं हर संडे जाता हूँ. हर संडे मैं हर संडे जाता हूँ, और मैं जब आपको ऑफलाइन मिलता हूँ, मैं कहाँ मैं बहुत I didn't grow up in Old Delhi, but from the age of 10 I've been visiting Old Delhi. Okay, पहले नई सड़क किताबें खरीदने जाते थे, फिर कुछ चीजें खाने जाते थे, और मैं हर संडे जाता हूँ 8 साढ़े 8 बजे.
I wish I could do that. It's amazing. और कमाल की जगह है. आप चांदनी चौक के लिए लेफ्ट मारते हैं तो एक गौरी शंकर मंदिर है 800 साल पुराना. उसके साथ में एक जैन टेम्पल है. उसके ऑपोजिट डिलाइट सिनेमा होता था, और जहाँ फिल्म के पोस्टर्स लगे होते थे, और उसके बाजू में एक मेथोडिस्ट चर्च है. डायगनली ऑपोजिट थोड़ा आगे चल के इस शीशगंज गुरुद्वारा, which is a very reverential place for the community and for all communities. And bang opposite Sheeshganj Gurdwara has now come up the Haldiram. It used to be an old, very small shop. Now it's grown up into a worldwide kind of a all India chain, and food is like all over the place.
I'm very familiar with all that, because when I was a young kid, my parents would take me to the Gurudwara to.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. And I go there on special occasions. Like, I haven't been there in a while. Maybe this Sunday I'll go again.
जी. और हल्दीराम से पहले थोड़ा मैकडॉनल्ड्स खुल गए, और स्ट्रीट के एंड में आप जानते ही हैं कि देयर इज फतेहपुरी मस्जिद, और वहाँ पे हम जाया करते थे. वहाँ कवाली के शोज होते थे. चांदनी चौक के आंगन में, जहाँ चांदनी चौक है जिसपे नाम पड़ा है द क्लॉक टावर, वहाँ मुशायरे होते थे, कविताएं होती थी, और there used to be functions, and there are so many people there. There are people and more people. वो मतलब एक नलका कहीं लगा, there's a tap somewhere जहाँ से लोग टपक रहे हैं, and somebody has forgotten to put it off. I think that is, Old Delhi is the reason for the population of India. And in all this, when you turn around and you see there's a tricolor fluttering in Red Fort, on the top of Red Fort. So it's like a microcosm of India. And that is culturally very rich. At the same time, it's like people have an opinion. So there are good and bad sides and everything to that place. Obviously, the food, the gourmet journey of Old Delhi is unbeatable. It's among the best in the world. And that also you realize, when you travel the world and you see the culture of Rome or France, and you go to the food neighborhoods and you see how well the culture has been preserved in London, and as such, and then you realize the importance of culturally old cities. They are your heritage as such, and yeah, a lot is being done to restore that in the recent years. Yeah, so I'm glad all that is happening. But what I was coming to is what I used to always wonder is, आप जामा मस्जिद से निकले, लेफ्ट मारे तो नई सड़क आ जाती है, and you seamlessly go into like चरखे वालों, वहाँ से you seamlessly go into Balli Maran, and then come back into Chandni Chowk, go into Fatehpuri. All these are Hindu-Muslim areas, and they keep merging into each other. But I had never come across, at the drop of the hat, when there used to be a communal tension, fatak band ho jate. There was a tribal mentality, and always I used to get intrigued कि ऐसा क्यों होता है, कि अभी तक तो सब सही चल रहा था, एक न्यूज़पेपर में न्यूज़ आई तो ऐसा शुरू हो गया. So So that I tried to project in Delhi 6. That's why I called it Delhi 6 Bruise in my belly. क्योंकि वो है वो मतलब वो churning चलता रहता है अंदर और चल रहा है. Yeah.
And, again, I watched this movie and I loved it and loved the music. Again, in your book, you write about the sublime music, and Rajat Dolakia has written. And I love the music. I remember my daughter was very small, and I saw it with my daughter and my wife. And at that time, my son wasn't born. We had a good time, and my daughter tried to, in some way, sing the song Masakali. I won't sing it, otherwise, whatever audience we have, they run away. But I enjoyed watching the movie, I want to tell you. And in the section 3, I could talk about just this chapter in long, but I want to capture your thought process on each chapter, so I'll try to go to the next one. And then you talk about how, you expected the movie to do at a certain level, and the fate at the box office wasn't exactly as you had thought it would be. And that you went into depression after Delhi 6. You've been very, very bold and authentic in sharing the details. Give us something from the chapter for our viewers and readers.
More than the box office numbers, now that I look back, I think what really I could not handle was that people are rejecting the film. And I truly believe that कि दिल से फिल्म बनाई है, सच्चाई से बनाई है, तो have I failed as a filmmaker? Was Rang De Basanti a fluke? Was Aks a fluke? Should I carry on making films? Because I will only make films in what I believe in, films that have a voice as far as possible, at least 4 out of 5 times, 3 out of 5 times. That should be the attempt. For me, I can only talk for myself. It's not a general statement. Everybody has their own thing in life. So there was a huge lot of self-doubt that got created, and to which it was hugely panned by the critics. To the extent, matlab ki Rahman Saab ka one of the best albums it is. And all of us.
And I agree with you. I loved the movie. I'm not exaggerating. I loved the movie. I loved the music. And I'm the kind of person who watches the movie jaise wo ibadat kar raha ho. I switch off. A friend of mine has been asking me to watch this movie, Korean movie called, which won the Oscars last night. I watched it, and I watched it like he was watching me watch the movie as if, I'm watching a movie for the first time. I'm discovering. I recommended it to my wife that she must watch it. So I really enjoyed watching Delhi 6. I enjoyed the music. I enjoy the sentiment when you say it was fantastic music. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people walked away with that feeling.
Yeah, and matlab A.R. Rahman and Prasun Joshi, they completely gave everything. It was very inspired work, very intense work, and very beautiful work. And we had a great time jamming and creating the sound. And it also worked out. And the music is there, it's eternal music. But what I'm trying to tell you is even the music was panned when it was released. If you see, AR didn't get a single popular award for Delhi 6, which was, we thought, chalo, film nahi chali, music to recognition milna chahiye. Wo bhi nahi hua. So it kept disillusionment over disillusionment kept mounting. तो कहीं ना कहीं तो मतलब आप ह्यूमन बीइंग हैं, आप भी लगता है कि क्या हो रहा है यार, मैं कर रहा हूँ, क्या कर रहा हूँ, नहीं क्यों कर रहा हूँ, सही कर रहा हूँ, नहीं कर रहा हूँ, which led me to a dark phase and a dark phase of alcoholism, and which took a toll with my friends, with my family. Obviously they stood by me through my weakest moment. Most importantly, my family, my wife Bharti, she was there, and she had a larger understanding. He's going through this, and she had to be there because otherwise I would have been completely destroyed by it. And then I always felt that I had a different approach to this story. And somewhere down the line, not because of any pressure, not because of anybody told me, yes, there were voices, I changed that. So I wanted to go back to the original expression. So 6 months down the line, I called up Vinod Pradhan, my cameraman, my soulmate, and I told him, ki, Vinod, abhi shooting baki hai. So I said, hey, how are you? And he said, Acha, you alive? I said, हाँ. So he said, so ready for your next? I said, no. First I have to finish Delhi 6. And so we went out, we shot for 3-4 more days. We went to Nasik, we simulated Haridwar in Nasik. And we had a new cut for the film. That cut got released and started with the Venice Film Festival. Then it went to Channel 4 and it did very well out there. And it's I've saved it in India to one of these days when there's the opportunity and the resources. I'd like to share that cut with the audiences. And when I have the courage also, most importantly, I think everything doesn't need resources, it needs an intent. So मैं अभी courage इकट्ठी कर रहा हूँ इधर उधर से, थोड़ी मिलती आ रही है.
And राकेश जी, जैसे आपने बुक में कहा है कि अभी जैसी ऑडियंसेस हैं OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे, you know, in the book you say that possibly this cut is meant for them and they may appreciate it a lot, right? So ऐसा, you know, maybe the time for doing it, I'm sure you'll get that time when you feel that, but possibly as you say in the book, the mindset of some of the audiences has changed completely. So
yeah. But the film has reached out to millions in spite or despite the theaters. Yeah. And it stays on, and it's been constantly it's getting released on various networks, on satellite networks, on OTT platforms, and constantly it has been giving me money also, which is the biggest irony of the situation, that in the times when I never used to have money, suddenly I would get the good news, अरे Delhi 6 अभी Z Films ने खरीद ली, Delhi 6 अभी स्टार वाले दिखा रहे हैं. So I said, very good यार, ये तो अच्छा हो रहा है, चलो कुछ अच्छा ही किया हो.
Yeah, and in that, of course, there was this song Rehna Tu, which again, I watched all your movies, and somewhere there was a message of integration, you know, national integration in all your movies. अगर आप ध्यान से अगर उसको analyze करेंगे, and that song was a big hit again and again in the backdrop of the, you know, the simmering tension always between two religions. And fantastic. And you know, you also say in the books, you quote Jalaluddin Rumi by saying, stop acting so small, you are the universe in extracted emotion. So clearly you are. I just want to say that to you. And now coming to the section 4, you talk about the colors of your youth. You talk about the fact that your friends, your friend Vivek Bhushan and you attempted trek to the perilous Mani Mahesh Kailash Peak, which is in Himachal Pradesh. And, you know, again, you talk about friendships, you talk about your, you know, youth, if I may say. So that's a very interesting chapter. But I'll skip that because we have less time, but I'll move to Rang De Basanti. Now that's in section 5 or chapter 5. And again, you start by this saying, you said, koi desh perfect nahi hota, उसे बेहतर बनाना पड़ता है. And you know, this is Flight Lieutenant Ajay Rathore in Rang De Basanti. Now, Rang De Basanti was your second film, and in some way, as you say in the book, it was rooted in your youth, and it was inspired by the unique traits of your friends, right? That's what you say right up front. Give us a peek into this chapter.
तो होता क्या था कि जैसे हम सबके साथ होता है, कॉलेज के ज़माने में सब लोग बैठते थे, हम तो प्रैक्टिस वगैरह करते थे, क्लास अटेंड करते थे और फिर कैंटीन में बैठ के बातें होती थी कि they don't do that, they don't supply electricity, they don't make the roads properly. अमेरिका में देखा है कैसा होता है, एंड हमेशा दे वो तो, and I was part of those conversations, you know, and always pointing a finger, always sitting on the fence. Never did we look at ourselves and say, हम क्या कर रहे हैं यार? So many years later, when I found myself in the director's chair, and I'd made a film called Lux, and I realized कि ये तो बहुत मजा आ रहा है फिल्म बनाने में, टेक्निक एकदम नेचुरली आ रही है, वो एडवर्टाइजिंग से काफी टेक्निक सीख ली थी, म्यूजिक एकदम नेचुरली आता है बिकॉज आई एम फ्रॉम द रेडियो डेज, मैंने गाने सुने हैं देखे नहीं, तो वो एक रूहानी रिश्ता है म्यूजिक के साथ जो अपने आप ही बाहर आ जाता है, एंड दैट इज थैंक्स टू द म्यूजिक ऑफ 50s, 60s, early 70s. We've always had some amazing music, and known as the golden era, the 60s for music. Actors के साथ भी काफी one-to-one है, and I'm able to extract performances and take them to places and realize potential. And though I've been very fortunate to work with some absolutely great actors from whom I was learning more than trying to direct them, whether it was Amitabh Bachchan or whether it was Manoj Bajpayee in my early films, and Raveena, of course, and Nandita was there, K.K. Rana, master of theatre, Mohan Agase. Even if he did 2 scenes, there's so much you talk off the sets and understand. It was like going to school. मेरे को आता जो नहीं है वो है कि यार कहानी का आइडिया भी है, बट कहानी लिखी कैसे जाती, what the hell is that? And writing for a movie, what is this animal called screenplay? Because screenplay writing is not taught to us in schools and colleges as such, in terms of creative writing and liberal writing. So I started reading a lot of books on screenplay. I started analyzing a lot of films, a lot of world cinema as such, and putting my mind to that. Found a guru in Sitfield, who, if you still go to a bookshop anywhere in the world, 5 out of 10 books on the art of writing for movies belongs to Sid. And I even he brought him to India later after Rang De Basanti, when I had more resources, and we held a lot of classes for young writers out here because he had so much to give. And he became my guru in absentee. And then after Rang De Basanti, I did do a 21-day one-to-one course with him, living in his house. It was like a gurukul. I used to make his morning coffee before he woke up. It used to be ready, and then we used to work and then make lunch, or he would make lunch, and he had a lovely wife, Aviva, and he taught me a lot. And when I understood that what a screenplay is, I wrote the screenplay for Rang De Basanti. Of course, the story was written by Kamlesh Pandey, and then Renzel De Silva came in, and he brought in the connect with the youth, the spoken words. We were always relying on dialogues and great sounding dialogues, which worked for an era. But I felt my brief to Renzel was, let's have a conversation with the audiences. हम जब दोस्ती यारी में एक दूसरे को डायलॉग नहीं मारते, हम बातें करते हैं और कभी कभी चुप रहते हैं, और वो भी बड़ी बातों में बड़ी बात हो जाती है. तो वो सब, और पूरा मंडल कमीशन का, टिनमन स्क्वायर का, कॉलेज डेज का, एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली फ्रॉम माय एयरफोर्स स्कूल, बाल भारती एयरफोर्स इन लोधी रोड. जब भी हम स्कूल में रोज जाते थे स्कूल, जाहिर है वो तो कहने वाली बात नहीं है, वहाँ एक मिग 21 का ढांचा खड़ा होता था और हम उसके इर्द गिर्द खेलते थे. उसकी धूप लगी थी, उसकी छांव में बैठ जाते थे, टिफिन खाते थे. पनिशमेंट भी मिली है वहाँ पे, तो वही देखते रहे कि वो जहन में. बाद में जब ये न्यूज आइटम आने लगे और एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री देखी मैंने, कॉफिन्स एंड ट्राइकलर, ऑफ 2000 करोड़ corruption scandal in the trigger mechanisms and buying the parts for MiGs. तब तक रशिया टूट चुका था. जो USSR था वो टूट के it had become into many nations. The Soviet Union had broken. So, and it was a Russian plane. And they had also warned us not to do this. And young pilots were dying, air warriors were dying at peacetime during practice sessions, not during war. So that brought back the connect with Air Force. All of my school teachers were wives of wing commanders and flight lieutenant and flying warriors. Their kids were my best friends. So गुस्सा भी आया और दर्द भी बहुत हुआ, तो वो जाहिर था to express that, to express your life in a film, and that became Rang De Basant. And yes, you're right, I borrowed a lot from my friends. Each character there has some traits of the friends. तो उन थोड़ा उठा के, तो वो अब बिल्कुल मालूम नहीं था क्या कर रहा हूँ, मतलब ऐसा नहीं था कि ये फिल्म सक्सेसफुल होगी या फेल होगी. वो एक जुनून में आगे घुसते गए और आमिर खान का साथ मिला उसमें, who believed in the story idea. Amir has written a beautiful epilogue. It's full of love. And उनसे दोस्ती हुई, बहुत सीखने को मिला. A.R. रहमान थे, प्रसून थे, विनोद प्रधान, most importantly, Bharti. They were, the backbones. And film ban gayi and it connected. So in retrospect, you said what can it? And it led to like this candlelit march in India Gate for Jessica Lal, for Priyadashni Mattu, and press was calling it the Rang De Basanti effect. And it was overwhelming, it was humbling. And what I realized was, if you bring out your life experiences, what you bring it out on cinema. And this whole genre of telling stories which are socio-political, people-oriented story is what I should pursue more and more, and look for that in my stories. But that connect became very, very interesting, and that connect has maintained in most of my work, whether it's Bhag Milkha Bhag or Delhi 6 and now Tufan or Mere Pyare Prime Minister. They're all about people. The plot is there, but it's all character driven.
Absolutely. If I could talk about every chapter, we'd possibly need 2-3 hours. I'll take 2 chapters and then I'll bring Ms. Preeta Ramurthy Gupta, who's the co-author, and talk to her for briefly, or let us this. And I have a colleague who's he writes on auto, but he's a movie buff and he's watched all your movies, and he specifically requested and he wanted to ask you a question. So I'll bring in my editorial colleague Abhishek to ask you a question. Okay. But I want to talk to you about, because everywhere in your book at some point there is a chapter on her. You talk about your wife. In the end, there is a picture from your Bandra home with your wife and 2 children. There is a chapter which is the last again, which is about your family, about your children specifically. And afterward, that Amir Khan wrote, I'll come to that my last picture. But I want to talk to you, I'm skipping the 7th chapter, which is the Mad Ad World, talk about your advertising, but I'm going to the chapter on A for Apple, B for Bharti, B. Bharti. So, again, what is the kind of influence, share from the chapter, that your wife's had? You already talked about the fact that she's been your collaborator, partner, and you also talked about the fact that even in your not so easy times, she was the one who understood and pulled you out of it, or helped you, that you were able to pull it yourself out of it because of her help. So give us a sense of what's in this 8th chapter, which you dedicate to your wife.
On a lighter note, I think we should be awarding her a Nobel Prize for bearing with me as such, because I'm a completely an emotional wreck most of the times, when I wake up early in the morning to the time I sleep. And then and she has not put up with it. That is the beauty of it. She has always, वो mirror वाली बात हुई थी, वो always shown, she is my mirror, and she shows me the truth every time. She's the biggest critique of whatever I do, whether it's movies or outside the movies. Um, she has always shown me what are the choices in life. In fact, in one of my recent films, Tufan, I've used something which she has always repeated to me. Though she hasn't shown the two fingers to say कि ये choice है, ये choice है, but she's always said, okay, choose. This is what you are saying, and this is what the right thing to do. And we would debate on that. And more often than not, I would choose what the way she has shown me as such. And more often than not, जब मैंने अपनी ज़्यादा मनमानी की है, it's always ended up landed me in trouble और गुत्थी हो जाती है. So she has always soldiered out my life. She's between the both of us, she's more matured. I think Gulzar Bhai has acknowledged that. In fact, when Rita ji met Gulzar Bhai, he spoke more about Bharti and less of me. More good things about her. And मेरे को तो उन्होंने बोल दिया ये adolescent boy है. And he is like the Devdas and she's the Paro. And she is the sane voice. She is the conscience. I don't want to get poetic here that she completes me and she's the reason to be, all that. Those are very poetic terms. All of us have our own conscience, then we have a collective consciousness of the nation and of the world. But very, very clearly, she is the conscience, not just the conscience keeper. And it's amazing, even till date, like today morning, I wake up very early and then she wakes up after me almost 2-3 hours after I wake up. I'm a 4 o'clock wake up animal, 4 a.m. And by which time I'm wide awake. By the time she's having a first cup of coffee and, waking up, and I'm already bombarding her with questions and ideas. अच्छा ऐसे क्या लगता है कि वो character ऐसा होना चाहिए, and she's always been very patient to take all that in and then and I can bounce off all my thoughts with her and also imbibe her thoughts into my work. So I think whatever little I've achieved in life, and if it were like a true partnership and I were to draw a partnership deed, and the profit and losses have to be divided, most certainly 60% goes to her for profits, and all the losses of which I have inducted, which she also shares 60%. So all in all, amazing. And it's just that our conversations are not about, she's not a small thinker. She's a big thinker. And our conversations have always been about doing the right things and ideas. Basically thoughts. And that keeps us alive. And my conversations most of the times vary to खाने में क्या खाना है, but she brings it back to a little more interesting stuff in that.
Thank you so much. There are many other chapters for our viewers and readers. There's a chapter on marriage, Mehnat and Kismat. There is a chapter on Bachchan Sahib. There's a chapter on the movie Aks. There's a chapter 12, which is on understanding myself. Of course, there's a chapter on Bhag Milka Bhag. There's a chapter on Mirzia. There's a chapter on Mere Pyare PM. And there's a last chapter on my motivations. And I would now like to bring in Ms. Rita Ramamurthy Gupta, who's a co-author. And she's written an epilogue also, which is in a lighter vein. But I'd like her to tell us how was it to write this book with Mr. Mehra. Of course, Amir calls him Mehra all the time, and I remember, I went to an engineering school, then went to a business school. All my close friends call me Batra. I'm sure they know my first name, but
yeah,
they call me Batre. That's how they call me. And if they call me something else, I wonder what happened, right? But Ms. Rita Ramamurthy Gupta, I'd like your take on how was it to write this book Mr. Mehra said, it took 4 years to write the book. And what's your favorite chapter?
Sure. Thank you so much. I think Rakeshji and I met in 2009. It was for a campaign called It's Cool to Vote. I don't know, Rakeshji, if you remember. We were encouraging the youngsters to vote. And we had roped in almost 2,000 retail stores across the country to put out those posters. But of course, we kept in touch. And which is that koi bhi desh perfect nahi hota, usse behtar banana padta hai. I think that was my starting point. That was my trigger to want to write this book. And as I wrote, I realized that, art that touches important subjects without ascribing blame, I think that's a very, very delicate balance. You touch important subjects without ascribing blame. At the same time, you also have a lot of fun while doing it. You entertain while you educate. And you educate at a very subliminal level. The education is not being pushed in your face. So the audience is having fun. The audience is learning. Because, any kind of mindset change is one realization away. And I think that is the purpose of art. And Anurag ji, you used a very important word, ibadat. Rakesh ji used the word religion. I think writing is my religion. I wish that through the work that I do, this realization is enabled one person at a time. And Rakesh ji is one of those people who's a brave storyteller, who shows you the mirror, which is why the stranger in the mirror, and propels you towards realization. And that really is my reason for the book. And of course, Rakesh ji has given birth to the biographer in me. So I thank him profusely for that. This is my first biography. And I trust that every reader will enjoy it as much as we've enjoyed creating it.
Absolutely. I can tell you, somebody who buys 50 books gets 50 books from authors because of what I do. And in fact, a lot of times I'm already bought the book before it comes to me. And, earlier it would come to the office and I wouldn't bring office books to home. But these days I get the books at home so that, I can tell you that it is genuinely unputdownable. After you start reading it, it is thoroughly enjoyable. You should never compare books. Every book is unique.
Yes.
But it is absolutely riveting. I think sometimes you use the word unputdownable and riveting very loosely. But I know a bit about books. I can tell you that it is absolutely fantastic. So kudos to you. Let me ask you, what was your toughest challenge in writing this book, Preetha ji?
I think it was Sigmund Freud who said that, there's a lot of lies in every biography. A biography. And my subject does not lie at all. He's a very, very honest man. I think to be able to string his honesty together into a narrative that flows seamlessly for the reader. We are not going ki, acha, you're born and then you go into college and then you start your first job. No, that's not the trajectory. That's not the arc we follow in the book. We follow his inspiration and we follow his honesty. And I think that, to be able to translate his rich life and the learnings of his rich life to the reader, leave your hand midway through the book, the course with you, they get to say, I think that was, that was the biggest challenge and the biggest inspiration for me.
And Abhishek, I'd like to bring in Abhishek, who's my editorial colleague, and he'll ask a question. Abhishek, go ahead, ask your question to Mr. Mehra.
Before, sir, I ask my question, I would like to say, sir, I really like Bhaag Milkha Bhaag. It is one of my all-time favorite. I've seen that film not once, but at least 10 times. And even during lockdown, I've seen that movie.
No wonder you're writing less articles, Abhishek. No wonder you're writing less articles. Now I know why you're not writing enough articles. But that's another day. I'll take it up with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, I'll ask a couple of questions rolled into one. First, while making Rang De Basanti, did the idea of portraying Subhash Chandra Bose, the freedom fighter, cross your mind? If yes, were you ever planning to, make a biopic on him? And second film, A second question: how much role did Satyajit Ray play in your professional career, especially when making films? Had he inspired you any time in your life while making films?
So I'll start with Reda. He is not Bengali. He is not even Indian. He is global. He is a world thought leader. He's a world storyteller. Yes, we want to own him, and we love to own him. We are very, very proud to own him. But Reda is something else. He's not human. Heroes hote hain, फिर superheroes hote hain. He's a superhuman. He's a super storyteller as such. And it's the beauty is the recognition and the kind of recognition first he got from the world, and then in his own country. He got global recognition, and whether it was festivals, whether his stories were stolen and picked up and made in Hollywood, and stuff like that. So here is a visionary storyteller, and it's not just me. All of us have borrowed from his work, whether consciously or subconsciously. All of us have been inspired by his work, and he taught us, and he continues to teach us as such. And he's there. He's very much there for us. He's eternally there because he's there through his work, and that's what I've learned from his work, from the work of V. Shantaram, I've been very close mentored for my work as such, and as such. The other is, while making Rang De Basanti, did the thought of Subhash Chandra Bose cross my mind? Honestly, no. Because, no, for the simple reason, I'll tell you the reason behind it also. I wanted to make a film which was the armed revolution between 1990 and 1933. It started with Kartar Singh Saraba, went on to Chandrasekhar Azad, Ram Prasad Bismil, and Ashfaqullah Khan. Then after Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqullah were kind of were walked to the gallows by the British Raj. Chandrasekhar Azad took the baton forward with Jatinda, Durga Babi, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev. And that is the story, and we called it the Young Guns of India. We researched that story, we did the screenplay, Kamlesh Pandey did an amazing job of it. And then, true to my advertising habits, Batra Sahab, I tested that story with some youngsters, like a dipstick. And they completely rubbished. They did not connect with the idea of Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Azad. So, फिर वही depression, but वो depression 2 दिन का था. Kamlesh Pandey being Kamlesh Pandey turned the thought around and said कि ऐसा करते हैं, documentary filmmaker come who wants to make a documentary of them. And then through that device we connect to the audience today. So I started writing the characters immediately, which we have discussed earlier, and उसका मुद्दा हमने ये बना दिया कि the MiG-21 planes are crashing. So yes, while Subhash Chandra Bose is a leading light for us, he has taught us integrity. He has taught us, more importantly than that, self-belief. He has taught us something which, while the British Indian Army was fighting for the British, and there's some amazing stories in Second World War of our warriors in Europe fighting in Afghanistan and at the Burma front. The same people, when they were awakened and they were connected to their motherland, fought against the same army, which is amazing. It's like, we can all be doing, because as normal people, we want to do things. But if shown the right direction and nudged in the right way, we start doing the right things, or right for what feels right for us, because right is not absolute. What is right for me could be completely wrong for somebody else. As such. So amazing. Can I do story around him? I pray to God, give me courage and to tell a story around him. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
I wish
Mehra.
you all the best. I hope you play Pandey.
Make a movie on some Bengali icon. Is that your question? I'm a mind reader. Okay. By the way, Mr. Mehra, I've had the good pleasure of knowing and meeting Mr. Pandey a couple of times. Of course, he's such a legend in advertising. I met him a little late in my life, but I did meet him. But I want to end by two questions. One to you. Aamir Khan in his afterwards says, the more I look back, the more I feel that the role I played, that of a DJ in Rang De Basanti, is uncanny like Mehra himself. All the qualities I mentioned of Mehra are true for DJ too. And the qualities are, Mehra is someone all of us love. He is someone all of us respect. We believe in him. We are charmed by him. He's intelligent. He's a great listener. All qualities of great leader. But somehow he does not appear to lead. Yet I know I was being led. I was always wondered about this quality. I got the answer when I saw the complete film. He has learned the unique art of leading from the behind, just like DJ. So, Mr. Mehra, what do you have to say about this?
I call Aamir Krishna. So my name for him is, and I relate to him as Krishna. He is quite absolute in his thinking, in his thought process. And Yaro ka yaar hai for the college going people. And it's the single most reason why Rang De Basanti got made. Otherwise, I'm not saying there are scripts like Rang De Basanti which are gathering dust in your third drawer on your table. और वो ड्रॉअर भी आप खोलना भूल गए, वो स्क्रिप्ट को वहां रख के आप भूल गए और उसमें बहुत सारी धूल जमा हो गई और मकड़ी के जाले हो गए. If it was not for Aamir, Rang De would have not been made. He stood by me.
Yeah, I remember he says that he says he first met you in 2003 when you came to his office to tell him about Rang De Basanti, and he says he reminded you once you started narrating the story कि ऐसी बहुत stories बनी है. So you're attempting another story, right? So you're right when you say that with his involvement and your passion and your vision, a unique story came about. It looked at various things and kind of synthesized various thought process into the movie.
Yeah, on the process of leading, you have to lead as a director. That's your job profile. That's a job responsibility, and you cannot shirk it. Now, there are various styles of leading. I can never tell my actors what to do, but I know exactly what not to do. The moment they go off character, it's like a football coach. आपने सब कुछ अपनी टीम को प्रिपेयर कर दिया और उनको अंदर जाके वो गेम खेल रहे. अब आप रोनाल्डो या मेसी को ये नहीं बोल सकते कि यार तुम्हें टॉप ऑफ द डी से गोल मारना है, बैकफ्लिप मारना है, साइड ऑफ द लेग मारना है, कॉर्नर शॉट मारना है, वो सब कर लेंगे वो अपने आप. पर जहां वो थोड़ा गलत खेलने लगते हैं, यू कैन ब्लो द विसल एंड से कम आउट, बेंच पे बैठो, मैं किसी और को भेजने वाला. Because you are going, for me, that is very important. You can't tell your technicians and actor how to do things. That is unka hunar hai. So that has a huge connect with, and I believe if you're an actor, you know acting better than me. If you're a music director, you know music better than me. If you're a lyricist, you can write better poetry than I can ever write. But I know when you have to complete the vision which I have laid out for you. We are all part of a big jigsaw puzzle, and you all fit in as parts. You're not the whole. The whole thing is the idea. So my request to my entire crew, whether in front or behind the camera, is कि we are guys, we are serving cinema, we are not serving ourselves.
Beautiful. My last question to Ms. Gupta. Ms. Gupta, you had a vision when you started writing this book along with Mr. Mehra. Has that vision been fulfilled? And if so, why do you feel so? Of course, I saw the comments from Mr. Shekhar Kapoor and Amish Tripathi and Virender Sehwag and Narayan Murthy and others. But somebody who takes writing seriously, and it's a very, if I may say, involved process to bring out something that you envisioned in a certain way, and when it comes out, sometimes we are satisfied with what has come out, and sometimes while we are satisfied, we wish it was better in this aspect or better in that aspect. What's your honest assessment of your book?
Yes, I did start off with a vision, but the vision is really to be in service to the reader, right? And at this point, what we hear, we're still waiting to hear how people are loving the book. So I think whether that has reached its fruition is something that I will know with time. I cannot presume that I have served my reader already. I'm genuinely waiting to hear from readers. But yes, the book only got better along the way. I think Rakesh ji had this idea of inserting QR codes into the book. There was Mohit who sketched so many cartoons. There was Yamini, our editor. There was Bena who did art. So I think as everyone came together, the book just got better. And I think it's, to my mind, it is teamwork and it's a great product. I would love to hear more from the reader.
Thank you so much. I know Yamini well, and he approached me for a book, which I said yes, but I haven't had the time to write. But luckily, my daughter's book is getting published. She'll be an author before me. So I'm quite happy about that. Mr. Mehra, before
all the
we
best.
let you go, thank you so much. Before we let you go, I want to ask you, you achieved everything, you know. I mean, you achieved a lot. You made movies which have been critically acclaimed. They've been liked. You just made a fan of your movies in Abhishek. I loved Delhi 6. I liked Rang De Basanti. I watched Aks. You now written, you directed movies, you produced movies, you've done work in advertising. Now you're an author and there's an autobiographical account of who you are. You continue to be in play. Is there a bucket list that you have? What does Mr. Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra need to achieve over the next 10, 12, 15 years to live his or his family's dreams?
What I've not been able to accomplish is to be a good parent, which is because we're so consumed with filmmaking over the last 20, 30 years when the kids are growing up, actually last 20 years. And my daughter is 22 and son is 20. And now both are studying and one has finished your college and the other one has just joined college. Is to give them more time. That is one. So on the parenting front, I want to travel with Bharti and not just alone. I want to discover, places all over the world. There's some, and not just tourist destinations. There's some amazing places. So and meet a lot of people. I think traveling. We were very lucky to travel in college. The drop of the hat, हम ट्रैक के लिए निकल जाते थे. So traveling is you meet people and you learn. So and I love meeting people. I love eating different kind of food, hanging out with them, absorbing, because I truly believe otherwise this cocoon which is there, which is my head. Basically, first to live in your own head. I don't want to live in my own head. I want to live outside that. I think I haven't done justice to that yet in a bigger way. तो वो करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. और हाँ, पहले अभी फिल्में हैं, उससे पहले एडवर्टाइजिंग थी, कल पता नहीं क्या होगा. तो वो तो मैं प्रेडिक्ट कर नहीं सकता.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mehra, for writing this book and talking to BW Business World. I'll hold the book again, and so that you can enjoy this book, you can read this book, you can get inspired, you can get a peek into Mr. Mehra's life and thinking. Thank you, Ms. Rita Ramamurthy Gupta, for co-authoring this book with Mr. Mehra and seeding this thought in Mr. Mehra's mind. We've enjoyed. I could have, I barely covered 6 chapters. I'll leave the rest to imagination of the viewers. But it's a book that you should definitely read. And for those who you missed the conversation, you can watch it on the YouTube channel of BW Business World, or read abridged extract in the next issue of BW Business World, or read it on the businessworld.insight on Tuesday. So thank you so much, Mr. Mehra. We wish you luck in your journey, and congratulations on writing this book, and congratulations to you, Ms. Rita Ramamurthy Gupta. Thank you for talking to BW Business World. We look forward to more occasions to have a conversation with you. And I really enjoyed talking to you. And if next time you're in Delhi, you want to go to Shishganj, I'll come with you. And I definitely haven't visited Shishganj, though last Sunday and the Sunday before, I did go to Nai Sadak early in the morning on Sunday. I go to a certain temple there. So, that's why I go there. But I'll go and visit Shishganj on this Sunday, and happy to, next time you're in Delhi, take you to some exciting places in Delhi, which you may not have been, though you're from Delhi. But I know I'm challenging you, but
I will look
forward. Yeah. Thank you so much, and really wish you luck. And it's a fantastic book. As I said, I know a little bit about books, and I do read a lot of books, and I buy a lot more books than that. And I get many books because of what I do. So really, it's a fantastic book, and I would recommend it to all my friends. And I buy some copies and gift it to my friends. Thank you so much. God bless you.